Well, welcome everybody. The day after Easter. I guess we're now approaching mid-April 2020. Amazing how fast this year is flying by. And then we all kind of went into a slowdown. But I don't know about you, but things are still moving pretty quick on this end. Anyway, happy to be with you tonight. We have a special guest. Heather Abbott is going to share with us some of her insights. She's, of course, our resident, I guess I can call you that, techno person who's behind the scenes creating some really nice graphic work, and the publishing she's doing with Dr. Gary, who's on the line as well. Nice to see you this evening, Dr. Gary. And she's been very active in leading ladies and developing a social platform or a platform online that allows for multiple assets to be utilized, which include video conference, live video conference, pre-recorded video, and downloadable documents, which I think is a great way of utilizing multimedia for the purposes of creating an event. And of course, some great speakers. Some of you are the cast on that particular last event. Anyway, so we'll get to that right away. So if you have questions as we go along, please make a note of them or send them through the chat, and we'll just be able to look at it that way. So what I'd like to do, I do have something I'm going to show you a little bit later after Heather covers what she's going to cover. So maybe I can sort of streamline that into what I think could be another thing for you to apply almost immediately. It's almost ready to be uploaded in the next day or two. You'll have the option, I believe. But I'll show you some new tools that you can utilize for creating online events. So without further ado, Heather Abbott, welcome to our call. And this call is called Aligning with Success, because we like to align people with successful ideas, habits, mindset, and you've certainly had a few of your own, and most recently we've been able to see and showcase them. So please share. I've sort of left the floor open, the platform open, because I didn't want to tell her what to do, because I don't even know what to do. so this is really about how can we become a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more savvy, and confident in approaching this new age where we're sort of mandated to be online, but in a way that we can become productive and useful, and not be so afraid of hiding behind other people's stuff. Like one of the things I wrote down to myself, and this will apply to many of you on the call. I was going to say, leaders show up. What does it mean to show up? It means we can see you. You're not hiding in the shadows. This is a video conference. This is not an audio conference. So show up. Come prepared to show up. That's what I think leaders ought to do. So if you want to step into the role of leader and leadership, come to these video conferences and be prepared to show up on video. And that's one of the things that I think is an important thing to say. So anyway, having said that, Heather, take over.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. Good evening, everybody. My name is Heather Abbott. Recently, like Mike was saying, ladies leading ladies, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But basically, I want to make sure you can kind of get more comfortable using social media and using technology. I want to start, though, by giving you a little bit of my. So I started out in technology on a 386 computer that I had built myself from components that I had kind of scrounged around here and there and found. Dial-up modem, taught myself how to code web. Sort of began my history. There was a job opening for a technician at the local school system. I didn't have a degree, but there wasn't a degree for what I was applying for. So I went and I showed that I had the aptitude for it. I was hired on. Spent 15 years there, worked my way up to senior technician, and part of what I had to do was train the teachers how to use technology in their classrooms. So you're in good hands. I've done this before. I've worked with the whole gamut of skills sets, from the most senior teacher in the room, who was actually when they would go to touch the mouse, they would shake. Their hands would shake, and you could tell they're really nervous. And to the most junior who just thought that they kind of, you know, knew the whole thing and they knew everything. So we can get through this, and you're with what technology is offering you, and you're going to find that you actually love it. So just to start off, I'm actually going to give you 4 actionable measures that you can take to begin to become more comfortable with this and to start to learn. The first thing I'm going to start with, and I always started every class that I used to teach with this, is the one thing you cannot say in this class is I can't. I better not hear from anybody that I can't do this. Instead, I want you to start saying, how can I do this? Or how do they do that? I want you to start putting yourself in that mindset of how does this work? And then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to actually take the time out of your day to learn how to do that, to answer your own question. And I'm going to show you a few ways that you can do that. Of course, right now we have back then Google, we've got YouTube, we've got so many different resources that you can use to research your question. Like, how do I start a Facebook group? How do I get on Instagram? Those simple questions, you can find a 3 to 5 minute video on YouTube. I guarantee you that's going to help you get through that process. And you can go back and watch the video again. You can watch it over and over until you actually get those steps down. The only thing that I advise you is just make sure that your content is current. And you can do that easily because underneath the YouTube title of the video, you'll have a date that it was published. And you'll see how many views. You Google it, you're using Google as your resource material. You'll also get a date of publication there. So after you've taken the time to learn this, you need to use what you've learned. So this is actually your 3rd step. I often find that we don't actually learn something until we turn it into a practical application. So take the time out of your day and use what you've learned. And then of course, the 4th step there is to be patient with yourself. You're gonna make mistakes. It's all part of the learning curve. And you're just gonna grow from those mistakes. So take time, sit down, block off an hour of time, whatever you think it may take for you to try to, you know, just create a Facebook group. For example, I am trying to get comfortable with learning how to do Facebook Live videos. I don't like how I show up in live videos, but it's something that I'm gonna have to learn to do because that really excites a lot of people out there and they watch your content more. So there's a lot of videos I've been looking at onto how to position the camera properly, how to get a better angle for my face so that it doesn't look so round with these chubby cheeks. These are things that you can learn, and you just need to take the time to do it. So be patient with yourself. So again, that first step was stop saying I can't. Start saying how can I? And figure out how you want to apply it to your business, to your personal life. You know, this works for anything. And then second, I want you to take the time needed to actually learn that skill. So we do have a couple of videos. I'll share that link later in the chat that you can go and view. These are on the day 2 content. Social networking, I actually did that one with Sherry Danzig and with Sue Gruber. And we bring to the table a lot of different methods for you to go online and become comfortable with it and use it in your business. I also give you a formula and a ratio that you can use to help improve how you come across with the audiences. You don't want to come across too salesy. It's more genuine content that you want to be giving them. Always make sure that you're giving them something of value. And most of the time, they just want to know how your day is going and what you're up to. And they'll listen to that. So I want you to check out the social networking one. And once again, that's ladiesleadingladies.net. That's a web address. And that's on the day 2 content. And then the next one is mobile business. That is basically going to show you how you can take everything off of your desktop computer and use it on your phone. I cover the iPhone, and I also cover the Android and the Samsung Galaxy phones. That's a quick, like 15-minute little video. So that one's easy to watch because it is just that simple. Don't let this get in your head. know that you can do it, because we don't say, I can't. We just say, how can we? I also have a practical application for you. So Gary and I, we host a weekly class. It's called a master class. And this master class is designed for all types of audiences, from your customers, potential team members, current team members, people that have been in NECA for. This is just, it's for everyone. And the way that we do this is Dr. Gary, the week before, will write a blog post on the coming up class, and he gives a little bit of background information before we get to the class. We publish that on Thursdays to our website, selfcarehub.com. We publish that to our website, and then we also send out a MailChimp email that goes to people that are subscribed to that list on Thursday as well. So that's one touch. All you have to do is you either go to the website, copy and paste the URL, share the blog post, or you can even just share the MailChimp email. There's never any, we don't do any personal selling or anything like that. It's perfectly safe for you. You can share that email and invite customers and potential teammates or whatever you want to the class, where they can learn about a specific product. For example, we're talking about jade greenzymes this week. We've covered lots of different topics. And at the end of it, we always have like an open forum kind of discussion, which is really great place for people to learn more information and ask questions in a safe area. So that's the first touch. Thursday, Dr. Gary and I, we publish the blog, and then we share it out as an email. Your second touch comes on Friday. Dr. Gary will record a short, like 30-second video talking about the upcoming class, giving a bit of background information on it, and a special invite to everybody to come and join the class. That's your second touch. So, and then the third touch, oops, I think I skipped ahead. No, I got it, yeah. So that's your third touch actually, is the video. So you've got you can do the blog post, you can do the email if you subscribe, and then you can also share on social media the promo video. So if you don't know how to do any of that, make sure you go over to the ladiesleadingladies.net and watch that social networking class. And specifically watch the part where I just talk about social media, not because what I say is so great, but just because I'm actually showing you how to do that. And that's basically all I have to share with you this evening. I just want to remind you that first, stop saying that you can't do it, and give yourself, be patient. If your grandson can learn this in half the time you do, does that make the knowledge any less valuable? Absolutely not. It's the same amount of knowledge. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to learn it. Just be patient with yourself and learn it, and be self-reliant on this, because you have so many resources out there like Google and YouTube. Take the time you need to learn it and then apply it. Start using it right away so that it becomes practical to you. And the more that you use it, the more at ease you're going to be with using social media and technology.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to go down that path for a second, like be really particular about just the concept. I love the idea of attitude. There's no I can'ts, because honest to goodness, how any of us learned how to do any of this stuff was we didn't sit with a manual. In fact, the iPhone doesn't even come with a manual. So it just comes with buttons, and you just start hitting buttons, you know, oh, that's what that does. I learned something yesterday. Apparently, if you have an iPhone, you can send another person laser blasts if you text PEW, PEW, as in pew, pew. If you do PEW, PEW, send, when they receive it, there's like laser blasts and your phone goes zzz or whatever. So I just learned that yesterday. So how we learn is just, we learn. We go as we just go about our business of pushing buttons and hearing from other people.
The quick question is, why were you typing in pew pew?
You know what happened was I just found out a friend of mine learned that, and I wanted to see if it was for real or she was joking. So I tried it, and I sent the pew pew to my daughter, and it was real. So I guess the point is, we're always learning. And there's only one way to learn where these tools are concerned, is to start poking around. I don't think you can do any damage. You can just learn. So that's one of the things. I think if you're afraid of, oh, I might mess something up, don't worry about it. Nothing can be messed up. It can just be learned. But the question I was going to ask you about is just simply something as simple as a Google search. Like, can you come up like a specific question that these guys might encounter day one, and how would you go about it? And one thing that I know is going to happen is you're going to get a whole bunch of replies. How do you filter through that? So maybe just one little idea, a thread that we can follow.
Concerning social media,
Yeah.
for example. Okay, so the first question, and I go through this in the social networking thing, is you want to identify where your audience hangs out. So the first question you're going to just ask them is, for example, me, I would ask them, where do people that are ages 35 to 55 hang out online on social media? And then you want to look for the most relevant content that's had the most views. And that's going to tell you, okay, so I need to be on Instagram. And then you go learn how to do Instagram. Or it's going to tell you, you need to be on Facebook. And then you go learn how to do Facebook. And you're not having to be overwhelmed by all the different platforms we have. I get bogged down a lot of times because Gary and I both have Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and there's more coming out every day. So just kind of focus your attention, make that your specialty first before you branch out.
Okay, question then. So maybe just a delineating factor between the use of Facebook versus Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, where do you want to start? That's what you need to know. Where do I start?
What have you experienced with the difference between Facebook versus Instagram?
Just business-wise or just in general?
Both.
Both. I find that business-wise, Facebook right now works a little bit better for me for business, because you can have a Facebook business page, and because of my certain age demographic. But younger folks are certainly selling a lot more on Instagram. And the thing is, Instagram's getting really ticky about how you sell. Even how influencers talk about products, they have to say that it is an actual ad. They have to say, okay, I'm talking about highlighters, and this is an ad for 7 highlighters. So you probably might want to just steer a little bit more towards the Facebook at the moment, but Instagram will probably switch that in the next 2 weeks. You got to stay current with it.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Any questions? I'm sure there's a million questions, but is there anything that you want to start off with? Let's get the question asked, and then we'll see if there's a simple answer.
Heather, you mentioned about checking the demographics and where particular age group, where you might find them. Does Google give that kind of information?
They do. They do. And you could even just start off with, what are the demographics for the different social media platforms? And it'll give you that information. I like to dial it down a little bit more specific to what I'm looking for. But you could give it just a big general broad term, and it'll tell you basically where they hang out at.
Cool.
Heather, Barbara Bertucci has a question on the chat.
What is that question? Let me just read that chat message. Barbara.
How do you follow up with the ones that missed the class? Do you send them the link to your website?
Oh, I think Gary just answered that.
Response: the classes that have good enough quality are recorded and posted on your YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, which, that's a link. So, or just Google Self-Care Awakening on YouTube. You can just look for Self-Care Awakening. When you say Google it, we're talking about if you go in the Q bar, the query bar, and you're in YouTube, just go in the query bar and type in Self-Care Awakening, and it should bring up the channel or any of the related videos. So you'll be able to find that quickly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I said,
I was also asking, like, you had the 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Like, is there a little thing that you do when you are sending out, let's say, the water matters, or is there some little protocol that you do for that?
Right. So that is first the blog post on selfcarehub.com. And it'll be a featured post. You go to the front page there and you can see it. And then we also do the email, which is the MailChimp. So if you're not signed up for our blogs, go ahead and sign up for those. You'll get the MailChimp, and then that you can just forward. You hit the forward button in your email and forward that to whomever you want.
And when you mentioned
And then
promo
the third
videos,
is the video. What?
the promo video or the video, are you talking
Yeah.
about the video of the content of that evening, for instance, like tomorrow night?
What I said was a 30-second promo video that Gary does on Fridays, and then we post that to the social media, so it's kind of sitting there all throughout the weekend. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, we're on all of that, and that's where that goes. And that you can just hit the share button, and you can share it there too.
And all those leads to the class.
All of
Okay.
it leads to the class.
And then there's a video.
So
And the
I'm
thing
sorry.
about the class is you really want to get them on live on the class because of that Q&A that we have after, or that discussion forum that they can join in and they can ask questions and talk to. Sometimes we post the recordings, but it's just not as powerful as getting that interaction after the class, I think.
Cool.
Heather, I have a question about your inspiration to do the Ladies Leading Ladies event. I mean, that was inspired a long time ago, before we had this quarantine and lockdown. What is it that inspired you to do what you've done so brilliantly?
It was actually Julie Tara inspired me. So she was doing Women Creating Wealth. And, you know, Julie's got years of experience, and she knows what she's doing really well. But she was kind of stepping back from it, and she asked other ladies to step up. And I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I know how to run a Zoom meeting and all that, but I do not have enough experience to actually be a leader that way. But I had attended a virtual summit, and I could see how they did it. And I thought, that's easy. Now that I can do. I can get some ladies on that know the content, they know what they're doing, they work in the business, and I can ask them to partner with me in this, and I can just kind of be kind of in the background, help and facilitate the Ladies Leading Ladies Virtual Summit.
Well, it was a huge success, as we all know, so thank you for that.
It was overwhelming. Yeah, it's been a nice success. I like how it's going. And the ladies that put the content together, it's like Team Kaizen ladies and people that just really know what they're doing, that have been in the business for years, and you're going to learn so much. I'm watching the videos because I'm learning so much.
Cool.
So you
Thank you.
mentioned what you're doing with the evaluation now, that it wasn't just that and the future.
So I don't want to blow anybody's mind here, but we did send out a survey here, especially since we're just trying to get you comfortable with this. But we did send out a survey just to try to assess how we did and where we can improve. And if you didn't get that, but you're registered to the mailing list, let me know and I can get that survey to you. But that's kind of exciting too, to get some feedback that way. There's a lot that we can do online. Just remember to start small, baby step it, and eventually you'll get to where you're doing surveys in MailChimp, which is really not as complicated as it sounds.
As a matter of fact, I did that myself. It wasn't actually a MailChimp. It was, oh my God, what is that survey app? I did it for the Humans Being More Awards, where people had to vote. And it worked.
So Heather, when you say, I'm really intrigued with your like marketing touches. And so let's just say, you know, the third week of the month, that Saturday, Mike, that we do either the SOS or the A-team, you know, that, so you would then start a blog or something on the Thursday, then touch them again on Friday to have them, no, that's for Tuesday. So you'd probably start on a Monday doing it so that they've got a couple of touches and different mediumships is what I'm hearing, to get them onto either the next Leading Ladies Q&A, right, that we're talking about doing following the A-team call.
Mm-hmm.
That, can you kind of talk about that maybe? Well, how we could play with you along with that? Time frame wise, the
But
time
let's
frame
call this the rhythm of your exposure or your contacts.
Yeah. Was that a question for me or for Mike? Sorry.
I think that was for you. So let's say you've got an upcoming event. Is that what you're saying, Barbara? Let's contextualize this. Okay, Barbara's going to do an event in 2 weeks.
Well, we have the leading ladies following I call it
That's true. So what we have is a Power A Team call on the third Saturday of this month. That'll be at 12:30 Eastern to about 1. And then following that, there will be the continuation of the Ladies Leading Ladies, more of a Q&A session. So it'll be a kind of a big deal day where the first half will be powerful testimonies of what it's like to have a career in NECAN, because the people we tend to feature are people who have had tenure with NECAN. So people get a sense that there's really a long-term opportunity here and it's not a fly-by-night situation. Then we're going to have the Q&A with the leading ladies afterwards, which will be able to, be inspiring and interactive and so forth. So let's say that's the event. Now, let's see, we're getting there. It will be on help me out here. I guess it's this weekend. It's the 18th.
It's this weekend. Yeah.
It's this weekend. So are we too far behind the ball, or do we need to what kind of a promotion should we do in terms of the rhythm, or what would have been the ideal promotion for this upcoming event for your social media postings, I guess? Is that what you're saying, Barbara? Like, how would I let the world know, or my influence, how would I use my social media to influence people where this event is coming up?
Right. Okay. So
the link on Saturday, the Q&A on Saturday, be on the same link as the Power A call, or will we be switching to another link?
It'll be on the same link.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have a meeting on Wednesday to discuss exactly what we're going to be discussing on that live Q&A, because what we want to do is we want to cover a session and say, okay, today we're going to be discussing welcome to the wellness home, or I don't know what it is yet. It's just, we haven't discussed that yet, but it will be a session so that people show up with actual questions in their mind, and so that they've also watched the content. So it's kind of a twofold kind of thing. We want to definitely connect with our audience again, but we want to make sure they're going and watching the content as well. And so after that meeting, and we've decided what we're going to do, I'm going to send out an email to everybody that's on the mailing list. They'll get that email, and that's the first touch. Then the next day, we'll put something on all of our social media pages, and that's going to be the second touch. Thursday, we'll do another follow-up email reminding people this is what's going to happen. Make sure you get on Saturday. And we'll definitely, Dave's got a meeting that morning too, a video conference. So we're definitely going to just outline the whole day's events, because we want to start cross-promoting everybody here. It's not just about Ladies Leading Ladies. We're a global wellness community, so we want to share. So we're going to send another email. We'll cross-promote all 3 events, and we will make sure they understand. Show up to Ladies Leading Ladies, already viewing, blah, 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 and have your questions ready, discussion, anything that you want to add to that. Or, comments on how we could have improved that, or what you still need to know, that sort of thing. And that will be your third touch. And then Saturday, of course, we roll the whole thing out. And we can even go on our social media channels and say, 2 hours till we go live, blah, blah, kind of a countdown thing.
So you're really actively promoting the event. I mean, this is really what it comes down to. Once you've got the event scheduled, then you've got to become a really good promoter of the event, as you would a rock concert or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question as it relates to, so this is more of an inside audience, sort of the people who are already part of the community. I'm talking about now, how would you promote an upcoming event that's designed specifically for an audience that's not yet been introduced to NECAN? We want them to be introduced to that particular event. So what might be the protocol you would follow in terms of that rhythm?
It's not going to be really different. And the reason why it's not going to be different is because I think we need to start just catering to saying we've got guests in the audience, period, across the board, unless it's something, of course, like Ben's mentoring call, which is obviously for people that are already involved, or NECAN Now, something like that. But for the Ladies Leading Ladies, this is an event where we want to be able to introduce people, men or ladies, to Meekin to the wellness home. We either want to turn them on as a customer. Well, of course, preferably a customer first, and then we want to take them through the progression and hopefully get a valuable member of our team out of it. And part of the reason why the curriculum was set up for that event the way it was because we wanted to give somebody a first look, hopefully get them excited, and then give them the steps they need that says, yes, I can do this. And boom, right out of the bank, 2 days worth of content, and they're up and running. That was
Okay,
the whole
so if you're promoting this to a prospect, any one of us, any one of these events that we've locked in on or a day of events, then I like the idea that first of all, you're setting this up in a way that all events are guest invite events. That's important. I think that's a good use of time and leverage. Then again, it's the same thing. It's 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. It's exposure to the promotion that leads them to be more inclined to actually make the date, to commit to the actual event. I think that's really important. I think that's the drip campaign, the promotion of the event is something that we need to become more proficient at. So it's not just I sent them an email or I sent them a text message. It's no, what is your campaign for the event so that that event has perceived value and people are more inclined then to take the time to be at it.
Right. And don't give up. Okay. So just because you sent them an email or you sent them a text message, they may not get back to that in time. Don't give up after the first day and just say, well, that's it. I'm done. They're not answering me. You've got to give them exposure to it over time and keep exposing them to it and change up your content to where it's more exciting and kind of sexy every time they jump in there. So that's important too.
So, given what Mike was also asking, then we've got this event on Saturday, then actually tomorrow would be a good time to say, hey, have you ever thought about NECAN? If you've ever thought about check out Leading Ladies Day 1 video, wellness, home, and just take a look. Come relook at NECAN, come check us out, come see what we're doing. And then on Saturday, we'll have some Q&A with some really powerful people for you to check out.
That's great. That's exactly it. You nailed it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's huge because I'd like to see all of us become more involved in not only promoting the existing calendar of events that, if you're not familiar with, the NECAN Connect has the listing of the official calendar of events that could be much better utilized and promoted. So pick an event that you're going to wrap your business around, or 2 or 3 for the week, and get that drip campaign going. Any other question? Because I do have something I want to share with you before we sign off on this call. We don't want to make these calls too long. Any other question for Heather?
So I don't know how long it'll be, Dee. We're going to try to keep the Q&A session probably about an hour, I would say. We don't want to leave anybody hanging for sure. So we'll just have to wing it. It's, you don't have to sit through the whole thing. If you've got a block of time, take your block of time, get your question in early, and then you can get out there. The most important thing is, since we are all seasons vets here, is to get new people on. And that's what you need to be concentrating on right now.
And if you haven't been on the first portion of the call, the Power A Team call, there's usually 3 stories, 3 people who share their NECAN story in short, followed up by a question that I ask if they had their NECAN career to do over again, or their first 90 days, to do over again, what would they do the same or different? That's designed to help somebody who's looking at this. How would they best approach their business if they were getting started today? It's a good question because it gives the speaker a chance to emphasize certain key things that we've learned in the business. And yes, the next one is on the 18th. Okay. Thank you, Heather, and all of your questions. And if you just stick around, if you might have another question, especially after I share with you what I'm going to share with you. So we would like to encourage you all to begin doing some promotion and meetings of your own. So there's a few templates that are that have been built, have been created and they are going to be published. I'll give you a link. And as you remember the flyers of the past couple of years, you would just enter your particulars, your name, your URL. In this case, it's going to be the date of your event, the link to your event, which may be the URL for for Zoom, and then the meeting ID. And so this would be one example of an event you can promote. You can create a personalized flyer for yourself. Can you all see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Okay, great. So this is a nice one. You can generate income from home and be part of a global wellness community. Want to know how? And then publish your event. Next one for that is this. It's the same, only the difference is you can add a photo of yourself and a way that they can connect to you. Then the next one is this. This is a little bit more product oriented, especially particularly where the air and water is concerned. How do we take care of our children at home? Again, join us for this particular event. Then this one here is again more business oriented. In this community, we continue generating income, be part of a global wellness community. Want to know how? Here's the location and learn about it. We also have this format, which is more like the older flyer, but same idea, where you can a dropship business focusing on whole wellness, change the way you work from home. And if you actually have this flyer, you're going to get it as a JPEG and a PDF that you can send to people. So you get a nice drip campaign going on social media and going in terms of emails. You can also just take, usually what I do is I will take that top half and take learn how to do this. If you have it on your phone, that means you can crop it. Or just if you have it on your computer, you can crop it so you have just that top portion, and that becomes the photo that you might post on your Facebook page, for instance, or your Instagram page with something in the caption that they can click to or link to that has the details below it. We have another one, this one here. It's a little bit more female-centric, which I think is appropriate. Centered, empowered, focused on wellness, change the way you work from home. Here's the event that you can post. And then there's one more. And it's this for a little more youthful, sporty kind of audience. Change the way you work from home. There's never been a better way to focus. So same idea, but just a little bit of a graphic difference. So you'll have the option of doing these flyers to create an event, an upcoming event for yourself that you can host online. So the template is the same. Basically, it's the name, if that's what you're choosing, the URL for where that event is going to be taking place. In this case, you're seeing the royalalliance.com/live. If it was just your URL, it would be the one that you set up on your Zoom. You would have a Zoom URL that you would have as an invite. You'll know how to do that once you know how to do a Zoom, and publish your Zoom ID. So if one of the things that you need to learn how to do in order to have these events is learn how to do a Zoom, then that would be one of the first orders of business is, first of all, you know how to get on a Zoom. You're on it right now. And so the easy part, now how to actually host one, and then what would be your content. We've provided some content in terms of presentations. I kind of like a little bit partial to the one that I'm using that Ben and I put together, which is a better way. It also has the humans being more photo, and that's the video that we recently did in the PDF that we recently shared on the tools. And if you don't have it and you're looking for it, just send me a message and I'll make sure you get it. And then you'll have a presentation. So there's a presentation. There's actually a video of us doing that presentation, or one of us doing that presentation. I think it was me. There's the learn how to do a Zoom and how to do what I just did. I just shared my screen because that's what you'd have to do to share PowerPoint. And now you have the thing to promote the event that has 6 different options as to how you might want to speak to your audience. And then again, as Heather pointed out at the very beginning, learn about where your audience is so you know where to post that. One of the things I've been experimenting with is a Facebook ad, how to create Facebook ads, which, by the way, none of these flyers would go for because there's too many words on them. But Facebook is really particular about how many words you have on a picture. But you can do Facebook ads which are simultaneous Instagram ads, because Facebook bought Instagram, so they say, do you want to do this on Instagram? And it creates its own Instagram version of it for you. But you can learn how to do a Facebook ad where you pick your demographic, you pick your geographic location of where you want these eyeballs to see this, and it'll come up on people's feeds. So every now and then when you see something that's sponsored on your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed, somebody paid for that. They ran an ad, and essentially that's what you can learn how to do and create some viewers and some interaction with people. And it might be just something where they click and come to a landing page or come to a conversation. There's a way for you to actually entertain that click once that they've said they want to talk to you or learn more. So there's things that you can do to really ramp up your business and start to move your business to be supplemented at the very least online. And I think it's just good for you to be familiar with that and start becoming familiar with that as more and more of our business is going in that direction. I particularly like Facebook. I'm not a huge Instagrammer in any way, shape, or form, but I know that that's where the youth is moving, or is where they're at for the most part. And there's a lot of advertising that is done there. I see, as I'm scrolling through Facebook, so many different ads come up. Some of the most recent ones that Nikan put together of the waterfall, that little video vignette that shows the 20% off, that's kind of a cool tool if you know how to post on Facebook or post on Instagram and have a link that people can go to your PWP to place an order. I just think if we learn how to do that, what Nikan is going to continue to do, as they have done in Latin America, is provide more and more and more content for us to be able to post on social media. So it would be kind of pointless if they're doing all that and you don't know how to use it. I can assure you it's culturally the way they've been taught in Latin America. Everybody knows how to use it. And they have quite a presence on social media, every consultant, because they've been taught they should. It's part of the way they do business there to supplement their income, their sales, and create the brand awareness that they're creating. So if you haven't seen them yet, go back into the back office on My Nikan under the information center. Look at the newest images that Nikan has put up there. There's like 30 or 40 of them. They're really nice images promoting various products, and you'll start to see what I'm talking about, how an image can really create a storyline or create an impression. And that's the point. You want to create impressions. One of my questions is, do I have a business page separate from my personal page? The answer is yes, I do. I have two. I guess that's about it. Any other questions before we wrap up here? Okay, so I'll let you know about how you can get your own flyer made custom to your name and URL stuff as soon as I have it available, and it's imminent in the next couple of days. So thanks for joining. Heather, thanks for sharing your wisdom and insights, and everybody who joined us, who added to the knowledge base of this call. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next call. And you will see me because I'll have my camera on. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Night.
Thank you.
Bye, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather and Mike.
Thank you.